Welcome to Her Media Diary, the podcast where African women share their real stories, bold moves, and behind the scene moments that shape their journey. I'm your host, Dr. Yemisi Akimobola, and with each episode, we're pulling back the curtain on what it really means to build a media career, break barriers, and stay true to your voice. Whether you're just starting out or already making waves, this space is for you. In this episode, we have the privilege of hearing the inspiring story of Dr. Joyce Kirabo, a lecturer and trainer with a PhD in business administration. So let's get into it. One of my things I need to improve on is pronunciation of names. So please correct me if you need to. So you've been a lecturer and trainer for many, many years. And you have a PhD in business administration. But before we get into all your amazing accomplishments, let's start with getting to know who Dr. Joyce is. Who was Dr. Joyce before she became Dr. Joyce? Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up from Uganda,
from
a very vulnerable background. I was a girl of a refugee that ran from Rwanda to Uganda because of the genocide that happened in 1994. My parents had left much earlier to go to Uganda for refuge, and that's where we grew up from. Then later, after the genocide, when Rwanda stabilized, we saw the need of coming back home, and we took some time. Then later we came, and there we are. Now, a little bit of me, with that knowledge of Ugandan, mainly I speak most languages from Uganda, also Kenya, because by that I was born in Kenya.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Interesting.
Yes, it's interesting because my parents left Uganda for some reasons. There were political issues during at that time, so they went to Kenya. That's where I was born.
Okay.
And then after the President Museveni came into power, then we came back to Uganda.
Okay.
And then later, after the genocide, we came back to Rwanda.
Okay.
So we've been struggling a little bit with education, as I told you, I'm a child of a refugee. We don't have much. So my parents didn't have much. My mother didn't go to school. My father didn't go to school. So we struggled a lot as a young child, growing up with school fees, little nothing, with a lot of temptations as a girl child. But I knew that my key would be education. So I made sure I concentrated on education and did quite a number of courses. With all those challenges, financial challenges, I was able to do a lot of courses. So as I talk right now, I had so many certificates. I have 2 diplomas, I have 2 bachelors, I have 2 masters.
Wow,
up here.
Gosh, that's amazing. What was it like, so taking you back to the genocide, do you have much memories of that period?
Yes, I do. It's very painful sometimes because at least every person in Rwanda lost somebody, or at least a person they knew. So it was a bit traumatizing. Although I was a child, I used to hear these stories, and my parents were quite scared for quite some time. So sometimes I remember of a certain experience where we used to eat fish a lot because it came from Lake Victoria in Uganda. So my father stopped buying fish, and then one time we asked father, "Why are you not buying fish?" He told us, "You know what? There are dead bodies in Lake Victoria, and that they have got some they got fish with dead bodies with watches, so we can't eat fish anymore." So the dead bodies had crossed all over from Rwanda to Uganda because they had believed that Rwandans Tutsi came from Ethiopia, and therefore there was a river that connects to Lake Victoria to River Nile. So they would always throw them in that river called River Nyabaro to take the bodies back to Ethiopia where they came from. So it's a very bad experience. So you realize that growing up in a country where you are not born, your parents are not born, sometimes you're discriminated against, you're called all sorts of names. It wasn't a very good experience. We needed to come back home and also mainly have a voice to change things. We thank God things are now better. We're back in Rwanda, things are doing good, but it's a very dark history.
And you talk about being a refugee. So did you literally have to journey
out of the, like, what was that like?
Okay, we were, my father was a cattle keeper for some rich guy in Uganda.
Okay.
So he did cattle keeping for survival. Of course, Rwandans are known for cattle keeping. So my father was employed in their farms, and that's where we would always get a living from. Meaning even school fees was a problem. And see, our own parents did not have family planning then, and so they produced so many children. So we so many. By the way, 8 girls and 2 boys.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
Gosh.
Yes, and we
For the same mother.
For the same mother and the same father.
Your mother is a strong woman.
She is. So we struggled quite a lot. So with that, we didn't have land. They only gave my father some house as a cattle keeper. That's where he would have all his children being produced from. So it wasn't a very easy life growing up. So I remember there's a time when I went to school and they always would send us home because we have not paid school fees. And when I went to my father to tell him about school fees, he told me, you know what, go to the garden, you're a girl child. For Christ's sake, I even wonder why you're crying for education, So I went crying, and my mother picked me, went back to the teacher, pleaded to the teacher to give me a test. So it was a promotion exam. Okay. So I would be able to be promoted to the next class. So it wasn't easy. Yeah.
So where did your passion for education, do you think all of that influenced that?
It did quite a lot. Yeah. And let me tell you how this influenced my passion for education. Because we were in schools with children from quite rich families, so they were in groups. There are those that belong to the group of the rich and us, who definitely came from our own background. So I used to admire those people in those groups because they literally had everything. The parents had provided for them everything, and for us, we were lacking. There's the time when I came home, I came to school with only one panty. Yes, and they installed it. Oh. So the next day I had to go to class with no panty. It's fun. So we used to admire those boys and girls that came from families where the parents had everything. During VDs of come visit them, of course no one will come to visit you, and probably with 1 kilogram of sugar that was given at the beginning of the term, and that's what takes you through the whole term. Now, what made me strong is that I really loved education very much. In the classroom, I would always sit on the front row and I would listen to the teacher very much. And I would help the girls and boys in the class who didn't know some exercises. So when I do the exercises for them, and then they give me some sugar in return, because I've helped them to do the cards, the assignments in class. So I'll survive like that, because they'll give me sugar in return and some favors. Okay. And that's how I,
kind of negotiated your way through it. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's a time when I went to visit my sister. My sister had married a rich man somewhere in town. So when I finished senior 5 and 6, they were actually helping me. My sister was now helping because the parents were now old and of course retired. I did not have any income. So now the sister took over. But it's her husband literally who was helping to pay school fees for me. And now I was in senior 6 vacation waiting to join university. First I wanted to become a lawyer. So now,
why did you want to become a lawyer?
Well, there were cases that I loved. There are cases that influenced me. I really wanted to start, especially there were so vulnerable cases of men beating up their wives in our villages. So that time a man would do anything to their wife, and there were no laws. Yes, there's even a man who asked his wife to leave the house and bring in a new girlfriend, and the woman had to sleep in the sitting room, and she cried the whole night. So I knew if I become a lawyer, I'm going to take up these cases, and these women, I'll be a voice for them. That's why I wanted to become a lawyer, But because of the financial challenges, it didn't happen. So that time when my sister was paying for me, I had finished senior 6 and I was doing university, and I was living with her in her house, so I would be able to do all the house chores to support her in exchange for school fees. And because you've grown up from the village,
Yeah,
with
yeah,
girls that
yeah.
have been told by the traditional mothers on how to cook, do house. So I was good, and my sister would be happy having me in her house
Yeah.
than a maid with her children.
Yeah.
So one time her husband wanted, while my sister was away, her husband wanted to take advantage of me being a vulnerable girl looking for school fees, because literally he's the one that was actually paying for me.
Wow.
In promise of he promised to take me to Makerere University by then, and so it became a force. He wanted to force me. You know, my sister was away on a workshop place. So I thank God. So I had only two choices. I would either join Makerere University next year, or I would go back to the village to go live with my mother. There were only two choices to make. And you see, by that time, a girl child, when you hear you're going to Makerere, when you hear for a university, no, it is it's an option you may not want to leave. But I thank God I decided that this is my sister. She's married to this man, and probably if they have HIV, that means I'm also going to have it. And I was young and very vulnerable and innocent. I didn't know much, you know, and I knew his objective was only to, you know, to use me. He's my sister's husband, for Christ's sake, you know. So I chose to leave their home the next day without my sister's knowledge. So I went back to the village, and when my sister came back from the holiday, I think she was very angry with me. She called home, told my mother she doesn't want to see me again in her house, and that's how I went home. But luckily enough, my mother sold her goats. You know how power of a woman. She had her goats, her chicken somewhere, so she would sell them and take me to a college. So that's why I ended up starting with a diploma instead of going direct to the university, because the only advantage I had lost it through my sister's husband. But I promised myself that with all this challenge, I would love to climb high. It's like that every graduation I make, I'll send my sister and her husband an invitation. And I've made it a point that every level I climb, I send them an invitation. Even when I graduated with a PhD, I still sent them an invitation. And he doesn't have a PhD, by the way. So I can imagine.
And when to be put in such a situation at such a young age, and for you to be able to make the choice that you did, when you reflect on that, how do you feel that all of those and actually the consequences of making that morally just option, has that shaped kind of what you do today? You know, you train and work with women in media. You're a leader in your field in terms of education and teaching. So how does that resonate with you today in terms of what you do?
That has been very informing. You know, it's like when you get an education through practice, it sinks deep than when you just learn it theoretically. So my education has been practical. So that practical part of it has shaped my life today. It has shaped my decisions. It has shaped how I interact with people, setting boundaries for myself, being very assertive as a young girl. And this is why I normally come, I have sessions with my couples. There's a time when we only meet as ladies and talk, and ladies talk, and I love it. So I have come to tell my girls that, you know what, life is what you make it. And that statement may sound small, but it means a lot.
It's quite powerful also.
It's very powerful. I tell my girls that when you choose to take your life to the east, it will always come along with you. It will not be left behind. If you choose to take your life to the west, so resilience and being patient, because the future is what counts. What you may see that right now may be more attractive, fine, but it's very short-lived. So something that is we should strive. We should strive for something that is prolonged, that will give you benefits for the rest of your life, and that's what I'm actually benefiting today. So, setting boundaries as a woman also is a kind of skill that young girls should learn to practice.
We know how important it is to have diverse voices and perspectives of both women and men in our stories. We also know the challenges of accessing female professionals for their stories. This is why we have developed Source Her, a platform designed by African women in media to connect journalists with female experts from across Africa. Whether you need a female data scientist, health professional, engineer, aircraft expert, or someone who can bring fresh, innovative ideas to your story, SourceHer has you covered. The platform boasts an extensive database of talented women, making it easier than ever to find the right fit for your story. Sign up now at www.sourceher.com to discover and interview female experts across Africa. Together, let's promote adequate inclusion and representation of women in Africa.
Yeah. So you got a PhD in business admin, you're working with women in media, and we're here today in Dakar talking about media and sustainability, right? So in your view, what are the key factors that determine whether women are striving economically or not in the media sector?
To probably pursue their dreams and even the dreams of their children. Now, the challenge that we have right today is that quite a number of women, of course in the African setting, as much as we've achieved some kind of gender empowerment, but that the traditional stereotypes still exist and actually strongly in the communities out there. Women are denied the chance to participate in the decision-making process of the home. The decisions to affect their own bodies, including the number of children you're supposed to have. That such a decision would affect their lives, sometimes can cause them to die. But they're denied the responsibility to participate in the decision-making process. And therefore, me as a counselor and also as a role model, I reach out to these women in large groups because I do also establish, I have my own company. It's called a holistic company.
Okay.
Yes, that brings the whole process together. So I do counsel women so much about the financial empowerment. Because look, a woman is the person that, if you want to build a nation, definitely you have to educate a woman. Because and in Rwanda, women are the majority. So imagine such a person, if you deny them the platform, you can imagine the disfavor that you're going to do doing to the country,
to the whole society,
and to the whole society, and of course to the sustainable development goals of the country at large. So such a woman, once given a platform, not only a platform but also finances. So women are encouraged to establish business ventures that can put them in a position of negotiation. Once you're financially capable, you are able even to increase your negotiating power in the decision-making process. Sometimes women are vulnerable because they don't bring anything on the table. But once a man realizes that you're bringing something on the table, therefore we need to have an income. This income will be coming from entrepreneurship. It will come from getting jobs, and you earn a living. And me as an educator in a high learning institution, especially in business and media communication, I'm in a better position now to build a greater future of girls who will not only depend on men, but also have their own business ventures that bring something on the table.
And speaking about Rwanda, it's a country that many of us know for gender equality. But I'm really curious to know the extent to which that national kind of recognition and positioning around gender equality has been translated in the media industry, in your perspective.
Okay, thank you so much. Rwanda is unique, especially with issues of gender empowerment. I think in Africa, with 2003, according to the UN report, 2003, Rwanda occupied 61 positions in Rwanda Parliament. And in other positions at local levels, Rwanda women have been given positions of leadership at different levels, and that is empowerment enough. Why? In such leadership position, now women are able to negotiate policies that change the narrative. Now women are also able to prioritize issues to do with mental health, issues to do with child maternal health, issues to do with nutrition, issues to do with girl education, So because of that empowerment that the government has brought in place of a girl child and of women in particular, it has turned the whole narrative. And Rwanda is very different as far as women empowerment is concerned as compared to the rest of the neighboring countries within Africa. So the government has done a lot to promote person number one. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for spending time with me today, Dr. Joyce. It's been a pleasure hearing your story. I mean, it's quite a story it was as well. And I look forward to kind of getting to know you better, and I hope you enjoyed the conference.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
It's a pleasure.
In a world where stories of resilience and determination often go unheard, the journey of Dr. Joyce stands out as a beacon of hope. Growing up as a refugee in Uganda, Dr. Joyce faced immense challenges that could have easily derailed her dreams. However, her unwavering commitment to education became her lifeline. Thank you for staying with us to this point. If you found today's conversation inspiring, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, or share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. If you'd like to join me on an episode of the podcast, send me an email at yemiti@africanwomeninmedia.com and visit our website at www.hermediadiary.com. Don't forget to subscribe and follow Her Media Diary on all your favorite podcast platforms. Also, tune in to our partner radio stations from anywhere across Africa. And don't forget to join the conversation using the hashtag Her Media Diary.